July 13th, 2021, close to 5:30 p.m. This is a Springfield Township Board of Trustees meeting. Mr. Burning, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Ms. Davis?
Present.
Ms. Davis?
Present.
Mr. Honlaw?
Present.
Mr. Burning?
Present.
All the trustees are present.
If we could have everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Burning, can we get approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes approved.
And are we setting the 2022 tax budget hearing?
No, we are conducting it.
Oh. The tax budget, okay. Mr. Burning, can we also have the fiscal report?
Yes, Mr.
Financial
Burning.
report.
The month ending June 30th, 2021, the township expenditures were $1,433,927.42, and the receipts were $752,721.46. That gave the township a cash balance of $23,993,209.10, which includes obligations for expenditures, payroll, regular operating costs, ongoing capital improvement projects, and investments. What I request is the approval of the receipts, warrants, payroll expenditures, updated and current revenue and reports for the period ending 6/30/2021. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. And I just want everyone to know that financial reports are available at the township during regular business hours or on our website 24/7. Thank you, Mr. Burning.
Thank you. And Mr. Gilbert, the 2022 tax budget public hearing?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Burning, and Dan, that was a good segue into this. As the board is aware, we do this every July. This is actually the beginning of our required budgetary cycle. And as required in regards to this hearing, we did place a legal ad in the paper 10 days prior to this public hearing, and a copy of the proposed tax budget has been available for review during that 10-day time period. As required by the Ohio Revised Code, the township must adopt the tax budget by July 15th of every year, and it must be sent to the county auditor by July 20th. The tax budget identifies how much money is expected in terms of revenue from local, state, and federal sources. Additionally, it anticipates and provides estimates for carryovers and how much is necessary or estimated to be needed for expenditures in the coming year. It really, if you look at the tax budget, what it shows in order to make those estimates and those predictions, we look at actual revenues and expenditures from the two previous years, so 19 and 20. We also look at the actual revenue and expenditures from the first half of the current year, in this case 21. And then we also look at and make estimates for the expenditures and revenues for the second half of 21 and for all of 2022. As the board is aware, and the philosophy of this board has been to be very fiscally conservative in our estimated revenues and generally show maximum expenditures to maintain that conservative approach to our budget projections. We obviously are unlike the federal government and cannot deficit spend, so we have to make sure that we have the revenues necessary to cover the proposed expenditures. The initial step in the budgetary process enables the county really to establish the township's certificate of estimated resources, which is then used for us to adopt our temporary appropriations in December and then our final appropriations in March. So while the tax budget is a necessary document, it is simply a planning tool for us. And I don't get caught up a lot in the numbers per se, because again, we show a very conservative approach from revenue, and I fully anticipate that our revenues will be greater than what we're showing in the tax budget. And we show a very sort of bullish approach to our expenditures in that we're going to spend everything we appropriate, which we all know that we don't. So in doing that, we are never in a situation where we are proposing to spend more than we're bringing in revenue. So with that, unless there are any questions of the proposed tax budget, that concludes my report for the hearing, and I guess I'll turn it back over to you guys to see if you have any questions or any comments regarding that.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert.
Yep, thank you. I do not have any questions on it.
Okay, there is a resolution. The first resolution on the agenda is the resolution to adopt the 2022 tax budget.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks.
All right, now, Mr. Gilbert, department action and discussion items?
Yes, thank you. So looking at, we have several action items. The first is a memorandum of understanding for Waycross Community Media. As the board is aware, for many years, we've contracted with Waycross to televise our meetings, our public hearings, and various other public events throughout the township, as they are here tonight. Before you tonight, we do have an MOU with them, similar, actually exact same cost proposal, as well as the type of events and things that they will cover in terms of services. And it covers the next 2 years, so it will begin in January of '22 and expire at the end of '23. So it will cover '22 and '23. Again, $27,000 a year is what the proposal is for the services outlined in the agreement, which is the exact same costs and services that it has been for the last several years. So unless there are any objections or questions regarding that, I would entertain a motion to authorize the township administrator to enter a contract with Waycross Community Media.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next is a liquor permit hearing request for 8621 Winton Road, and as I understand it, it is simply a transfer between the liquor store establishment and the Lucky Turtle, which is located in the same building. Is
That's
that
correct.
And I'm also assuming there's no objections?
No objection.
Okay. So with that, I would ask for a motion to send the requisite paperwork to the Ohio Division of Liquor Control.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next is similar, as the board is aware, we have, given our geographical configuration, we've found it to be more efficient and cost-effective to contract with neighboring jurisdictions to provide first responder service into some of our outlying non-contiguous portions of the township. As opposed to building 3 and 4 different fire stations in those areas, it's much more economical for taxpayers to allow us to contract with neighboring jurisdictions to provide that first responder service while we are en route to those outlying areas. As the board is aware, we've done that for many, many years in the Pleasure Island Farms neighborhood in the northwest portion of the township. That has been with various different entities in the past. Currently it's with Colerain Township. We have explored ways to provide similar service to the Edgemont and to the West College Hill portions of the township. And I'm happy to report that Chief Leininger and Assistant Chief Rick Burrow has worked out agreements with the city of Cincinnati to provide those first responder services to West College Hill in our southwest and Edgemont in our southeast on the other side of 75. So with that, I'll turn it over to Assistant Chief Burrow if he has any comments or any
No, just
clarification.
follow up. Our goal is to get dispatch set up for August 1st.
Okay.
And certain criteria for EMS responses with the dispatch center. So if everything goes as planned, we'll be good to go.
All right, thank you. So with this agreement was set up very similar to the one that we have with Colerain Township and Pleasure Island Farms. So again, it's just a way to improve service to those 2 areas, public safety service at a much more reasonable cost than building fire stations and maintenance stations in those outlying areas. So unless there are any questions regarding that and our comments, then I would entertain a motion to authorize the administrator to execute an agreement with the city of Cincinnati for those services.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Laura, I don't know if you have any comments regarding that. I know you worked very hard on that. I appreciate your efforts in getting that together. I know it's been sort of a labor-intensive process.
That agreement had a lot of changes, but we got it resolved in the end. I think the fire chiefs did a good job talking to each other about what was needed. Sometimes the lawyers get in the way.
Yeah.
I think we got in the way a little bit on this one, so we got it pulled back together,
I
so.
see you admit that, Laura.
Yeah, sometimes, I don't think I do, but other lawyers, no, it went fine.
Well, thank you both for all your hard work on getting that together.
And then looking at discussion items, the bank depository request for proposals is out on the street, if you will. And we've had requests from, I think, 3 different banks to this point.
Good.
And so I just wanted to mention that here at, our public meeting, that it is out. And if banks have any interest in being our depository, then they can request a copy of the RFP and submit their proposal. But that is out, and we should have that and make a decision at our meeting in August, correct?
Yeah, they have to have them back on the 26th, so.
Okay.
We used a little more robust application this time. I think it makes a little more sense, given current banking standards, so we completely revamped it this year, and I think it's going to be a better result.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. We're looking at the personnel update. Very short personnel update this month, but we did have a new hire of Kirsten Goldick in the Public Works Department, and her date of hire was June 17th. However, it looks like she's only here for a few weeks because her last day is tomorrow.
Correct.
So while I'm announcing we hired her last month, she's also leaving us tomorrow. So she is a college graduate who's on her way to the Navy and just had some time this summer, and we needed the help, so she decided to come aboard and help us for the last month. So we're gracious that she did that, but yeah, it's kind of odd. I've never had a situation where we've announced that we hired someone and then they're leaving us the day after. So,
It's worked out really well.
yeah.
Yeah.
That concludes the personnel update. With that, I'll turn it over to Kim for community events and programs.
Thank you. Arts Connect is hosting or continuing to host our lunch book series. It's an afternoon program every Friday from 11 to 11:30 on the back deck of the Arts Center that brings in a Cincinnati Public Librarian to read stories to the real little kids. Our first concert of the year will be on July the 23rd, featuring the Hiders, and we are also have coordinated a 3D art gallery experience with that event on the 23rd. Our senior adult picnic is on July 29th, and then our movies will resume in August. Outdoor movies on August the 13th is Scoob, and August the 27th is Raya. And I did want to make just a brief note that a new event was added by the police department. We're going to add a community shred day on September the 25th from 9 a.m. to noon.
Is that where they have the giant shredder? That thing's awesome.
And that'll be here versus the PD?
It'll be back in
Yeah.
the Grove parking lot.
Thank you, Kim. Next, we have resolutions. The first resolution is number 67-2021, adopting the 2022 tax budget. Do we have a motion?
So, seconded.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Second resolution, number 68-2021, granting approval of a zoning map amendment from R3 Residence District to MPUD Industrial Planned Unit Development and approval of a preliminary development plan. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, we have resolution number 69-2021, declaring motor vehicles located on public or private property in Springfield Township, Hamilton County, Ohio, to be junk motor vehicles pursuant to revised code 505.173, and ordering the removal of such vehicles pursuant to resolution number 80-2012 and revised code 505.871. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, we have resolution number 70-2021, declaring nuisances pursuant to Ohio Revised Code section 505.87 at various listed properties within Springfield Township and authorizing statutory actions necessary to abate the nuisances. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, we have resolution number 71, 2021, establishing assessment for abatement of dangerous property condition and certifying same to the Hamilton County Auditor. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Honlaw.
Aye.
Mr. Burning.
Aye.
Resolution carries.
That's all our resolutions. Do any of the trustees have old business?
I do not.
Nothing under old business.
Do you have anything under new business?
Just, I would say, under new business, it looks like Public Works has been very busy with, and our zoning and code enforcement with all the resolutions. I know I'm getting calls from various residents around the community about nuisance properties and high weeds and abandoned vehicles and things like that. And we appreciate you bringing it to our attention. Springfield Township's a big place, and sometimes it takes that kind of thing just to get it. As much as we have people out in the community all the time, sometimes it takes that to get it on our radar screen. So we appreciate that, and we'll look into each one and follow the statutory requirements. But I know it's kind of that time of year when people are outside and looking at what can be problems. So that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Honolaw. Ms. Davis, you
I
have any?
have nothing, thank you.
Okay, next we have citizen participation. If you could just state your name and address, come up to the podium.
Michael McCoy, 8950 Fountainblue Terrace. Now that I have you guys unprovided attention, I got the floor here. I just want to say that it's nice to be in the neighborhood and see some of the trustees in the neighborhood. I saw Joseph. I don't know if he remembered me, but I'm the guy that carries the golf club to keep the dogs off me. But
yes,
it's nice to see the trustees in the neighborhood. Also, I want to thank Christopher for taking care of Rumpke on the trash collection. Just to let you guys know, Rumpke is now coming around 11 o'clock a.m., so that's a blessing in disguise. So when something good is happening, you know, you need to let you guys know what's going on. And I just like to reiterate, Joseph, what you're saying. I don't understand the proper procedure for the grass cutting, because I had a neighbor next door at 8960 that his grass, well, he's dead. His nephew is living there. It hasn't been cut in 7 weeks. I called the township, and finally they cut it the 8th week. So now it's getting to the point where it's growing high again. The owner of the home, Craig Hampton, he has been deceased for 7 months now. And so I don't understand the procedure on when you're going to come back and give them a ticket, warning, or how does that work? Because these people are just living there. They're not really doing anything, but just living there because it's his nephew, his girlfriend, and the girlfriend's mother. Dog barks constantly. So I'm just wondering the procedure on the follow-up after they cut it after 7 weeks, and then it starts to grow again. They cut the front, but they didn't cut the back. So, you know, I don't want to say.
Did they cut it or did we cut it?
I'm not sure, but after the 7 weeks, it was cut.
We would cut the back.
Yes, they cut it. And I'm looking at the report here in front of me. We still have an open case on that property. I'll send an inspector out. The process that what we can conduct moving forward is issue a repeat nuisance violation, and if the property isn't brought into compliance within 8 days, then we will actually go out and perform the needed cleanup. There will not be a delay moving forward like what was done with the initial process.
It's actually on the nuisance resolution for this evening.
It's on there tonight?
Yes.
8960 Fountainblue.
Yeah.
Craig Hampton.
I've got it listed here.
We got a couple of
as an
your other
open case
neighbors
as well.
on there too.
Okay, great. Okay, and like I said, I just want to appreciate all that you guys do for the township, and we'll get out here before 6 o'clock.
Well, yeah, and that's, just so, you know, Mr. McCoy, just so you understand, the first time in on a property, we have to, you know, get a title search. We have to figure out who's the property owner, who are the lien holders, if there's a bank involved, because our lien for this goes ahead of a mortgage company, and we have to give them all notice and do everything according to law, but then once we've gone through that whole process with them, then if they keep violating, well, then we can go back out quicker. You say it's every 8 days?
Every 8 days.
Every 8 days, and cut it faster after that. We don't have to, there was a time when I was on this board where you had to basically start over, remember that, Laura? And go through the whole thing, and they've changed the law, so now we can just go out there and do it much quicker. And so we've been through the process now tonight, the long part, and then from here on, it can be more of a summary thing.
That resolution is actually effective for 1 year.
And they're on the list for our resolution tonight, so Mike and his team will be acting
And
on
they
that.
can't just cut the front yard, they have to cut the whole yard.
Excuse me, may I approach?
Yes.
Yeah, go
Come
ahead.
on up.
I'm sorry about one thing, the lieutenant, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I just want to thank him. It was 3, 4 of us at the police department a couple of weeks ago, talking with them about things that are going on in the neighborhood, how we can try to fight crime and that sort of thing. So that's another feather in the cap for our police department that's willing to listen to the residents about the complaints that are going on. So I don't want to leave the police department out, because they have a tough job and everybody's always down on the police and that sort of thing. I would not want to live in a society where we don't have police officers. So
They have very good dispatchers too.
well, as long as she stays out of my pocket.
His daughter's one of our dispatchers.
Yeah,
So, I just want to thank the police department for the work that they're doing, and it's a well-done job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy.
thank you.
If there's nobody else here to address the board, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Hey, Mike.